Okay, welcome back. Today I am doing some work on the inside of the truck. I'm going to try and wire a different control switch for the transfer case shifting. It's a motorized shifter with originally, I'll grab the original button, but originally there was a button on the dash on the Tundra that you'd push one button for two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive, and then there was another button to switch from 4 high to 4 low. And there's not any real information online about how these things function. So digging into a lot of the wiring diagrams, it looks like I hopefully can just add a couple switches and should be able to control it. Right now, I do have it set up so I can control it, but it's not perfect. I'll show you that right now. Okay, so this obviously is just the inside of the Tundra control panel thing, but it obviously wasn't going to fit in this tiny little center console thing. So before, you would push this button in there for 4-wheel drive, and then that button for 4 low, and then there's like a couple little indicator lights that flash and stuff. But there's a big plug that goes into the back of this with the wire leads and everything. So I'm going to try and just splice out those wires and get it to function like stock, but without the stock buttons. Right now I have it set up where this controls it right here. So if I push that, you can hear the motor shift. So right now it says it's in 4 low, and then I can move it till it says 4 high. It's like there's 4 high, there's 4 low. Four high, and then off. The biggest problem with this is I don't know when it's supposed to stop. Like, I know when the light turns on, it's in gear, but there's not a way for it to have an automatic stop. Where the factory buttons, once it senses the signal, it moves until it hits a certain point and then it stops. So that's kind of why I want to figure that out in the future. If I can't get this to work as I want it to, or just run into more issues or whatever, then I think I can do a Sequoia transfer case, and that one is manually shifted. So that is a lot better of an option for something like this if this wiring doesn't work. If this wiring works, then sweet, and I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do right now. Okay, here's the factory wiring that I tapped into. These are just the power leads going to the transfer case motor. So I just tapped in and made my own little circuit here with this switch that I showed earlier. It's a polarity switching switch. So that's how I can go in and out just with these 2 wires. So I'm gonna, for now, keep these wires connected right here, and then just put some spade connectors on these two wires, so if I need to utilize these again, then I can just undo them. But for now, I'll do this so I can just do some testing with the factory wiring. Okay, thank goodness I have like the full factory PDF of the 2002 Tundra wiring harness and diagnosing, and it has helped a lot. So basically, once this four-wheel drive button is pressed on the factory truck, once it senses it shift into four-wheel drive, then it activates the front diff actuator, and then once it senses that, then it goes into gear fully. So it's just a switch that looks like it just switches to ground. So I connected this 2-wire thermostat wire that I had laying around to the plug up front where the diff would have been. I still have the wiring right there, so I just shoved the wire into the ends to see if this would work. So basically I'm going to press this. Once I hear it shift, then I'll connect these 2 wires, and if that works, then I can try and figure out something there. I don't know if I can just add a relay that does this or what. So that's what I'm going to try right now. So I'll turn the key. We'll press this. All right, and we're solid. So then I can press okay, I don't know what that's about. Don't really know what that's doing. Let's see. Okay, and I just tested this, so if I disengage it without letting go of these, then it freaks out and starts flashing again. So this has to connect once the transfer case switches, and it has to disconnect once it switches out of four-wheel drive. So at least I figured that out, but I don't know what this... I don't know why that's happening. So now I gotta look into that. Okay, I figured it out. It was easy. The trans just has to be in neutral for the 4 low shift. So we go 4 high, connect that, we're all good. And then I press this one, further shifts to 4 low. And then to get out of it, undo that, and then disconnect that. So that, I think, proves that the circuit is functioning like it should. So now I'm gonna find the wires, cut and tap into this switch and this switch. And then I made this. So this is just this little blank plate that goes right here. Unfortunately, I broke one of the clips, so I'm gonna have to double-sided tape it back in or something on one side. But anyway, so this button here is a switched contact, and then this one's just a momentary switch, so it just needs a signal, not a constant contact. So I have this button for the 4-wheel drive, and it sticks down like a normal switch, and then I have this guy for the momentary contact, and then I have another momentary right here because it's the same style contact for the overdrive switch, so I can disable overdrive instead of having the button that no longer exists. But yeah, so that's my little fairly clean button setup. It should look pretty good right here. So first I'll get some connectors on these. I'll get some wire from this plug. Try to figure out which wires are the right ones. Looks like I've got a green and yellow and a pink. So yeah, I think I see the green and yellow and pink right next to each other. So that should be easy enough, and I'm pretty sure they just need to be connected to 20 or 12 volts, just connected straight to power, is what it seems like. So that should be good. So yeah, I'll do some testing and check back when I have it working. Okay, so last left off looking into the 4-wheel drive button activation switch, and apparently the information, as far as I can tell, doesn't really exist in writing anywhere. I've tried to post on a Facebook group with a bunch of the Tundra people, and even the ones who have access to or work at a Toyota dealer don't have the information I'm looking for. So I'm either going to have to dig into the actual switch here and see if I can figure out what signal it's putting out, or I don't use that switch, or maybe some other solution. But anyway, going away from that, I have the new oil pan. So I picked this up yesterday. Guy who makes these. Looks like it's gonna fit really nice. So I just need to weld everything together. Comes with this windage tray that goes on first. Comes with the oil pan. Has the little block off plate for where the trans mounts. Put a drain in there somewhere. Even has the pickup tube I'll need to cut down, and then the dipstick tube, which will go somewhere. So just kind of drill a hole and put it in however it'll go in whatever space I have in the truck. But that will be the last thing. So yeah, I'm gonna get to tacking this up and making sure everything is fitting like it should. Okay, the fitment of this pan is really good. So I have it all just tacked together to make sure everything was going together like it should. Yeah, it's really nice. Everything is looking really good. So yeah, now to weld it and be careful not to burn through. This is like 16 gauge, so it's like kind of thick but not that thick. So yeah, just have to be careful and get it all sealed up. job. Turned out really good. Ground down the corners just so it looks nice. All the welded edges here. Ground down a little bit right there. Mostly these bolt holes are really close, so it'll probably be on the weld a little bit, but I'll be RTV sealed anyway to the motor. But yeah, everything looks good. Got everything all sealed up. It's looking really good, actually. I don't think we have any leaks. It all looks like it penetrated well. It doesn't really look like I missed anything. I don't see any pinholes or anything, so I might just send it and call it good. But yeah, everything looks good. So I'm going to get the old pan, the oil drained, the old pan off, and the upper pan off, so I can start looking at removing the pickup tube, because I need to cut the screen off of this to go on this side for the pickup, and then I need to trim this up to fit exactly, so it'll fit something like that ish. I'm not sure how it'll sit, but I'll figure that out. I got the pickup tube modified, so right now I'm just making sure everything is gonna clear. Right here is really close. So it's like 4.5 or so inches from this casting flat spot, or this casting spot right here. And my total travel on the outside, it's about 5.5 inches or so. Plus I need to put a bump stop, so probably about 4.5. So this should just barely clear, because this right here won't move as much as this over here. So that should be totally fine. This corner is just barely past, so it's a tight fit. But later on when I do links, instead of the leaf springs, I'm gonna be pulling the axle forward anyway, so it should clear no problem. Okay, I pulled the pan so I could start drilling the holes for the dipstick that'll go on the side. Just wanted to show the pickup tube. So welded on the flange right here, and then normally I cut off the factory supports that used to sit like right here, so it'd pick up at one of these bolts right here. But since they're so far away, I didn't want to make like a new hanger thing. I just actually tacked it to the windage tray right here on both sides, and it goes on and off really easy. So this actually worked out really good. It's nice and supported. Should be no issues. Okay, it's the next day. I'm finishing up the oil pan right now. So basically, I measured from the stock oil pan from the flange to the end of the oil dipstick. So right now, I just drilled a hole. I already tested this in the truck to figure out kind of where the dipstick can go, and I think I have it right. I'll do one last test fit before I go ahead and weld it, but I think I just do it at this very slight angle. Drill the hole right here. I need to trim this tube down a little bit so the dipstick just reaches through it. Can't really tell, it's in there like half an inch or so. So I need to trim that down, get this hole widened and angled so this fits in nice, something kind of like that. And then the end of the dipstick will be about right at this line, and I have that line drawn on the inside as well, so I can kind of tell where it's actually poking through. So get that set up. Okay, got the dipstick tube welded in. It's pretty much perfect. I'm gonna have to tweak the actual dipstick tube to dodge some stuff and get the little mounting point higher up to be where it's supposed to be. But this is done. I'm gonna get everything cleaned up and get some RTV on this and get it installed for the final time. Okay, it's nowhere near perfect, but I threw a little bit of paint on the pan after I installed it because I didn't want to wait for the paint to dry. But yeah, that's in its final place. I modified the dipstick and the little holder there, so that's nice and sturdy and in place. A good spot to pull out the dipstick. Yeah, I'm really stoked with that. That's a big thing off the list. So yeah, I think next week I will be working on the steering stuff. I need to go get some tubing. I might mock it up with some square tubing to try to figure out what I actually need before I possibly waste some DOM tubing. So I need to do that. I need to get on the shock hoops and the shock mounts, and I need to find some shocks the same dimensions as the rear that I'll be using. I'll keep looking for answers about my button questions for the four-wheel drive stuff. I still don't know if my information exists out there, but hopefully it does, and hopefully somebody will give it to me. If not, then I'll just kind of do what I was doing before and just move it manually with power, and hopefully that works good. But yeah, and then in the next couple weeks after that, I'll probably get the drive shafts done, and then that's kind of it. So yeah, hopefully be seeing this driving real soon. See you later.